guys. This is the first episode of the Flint-Stone Football Podcast. I'm Ricky Stone. That is my co-host, Nate Flint, and we're incredibly excited and pumped to bring this to you. We've been talking about doing this for a while. Obviously, we're huge football fans. As you can tell, we are pretty big Bears fans as well, though we will try not to have some bias in what we talk about as much on the NFL scale. But we worked really hard to bring this together, and we're really excited to bring this to you guys. So obviously, if you like it, give us feedback. If you think we should tweak things, we're totally open to just making this a community and having you guys reach out and interact with us. And we really want to hear your guys' input on any form of social media. But anyway, let's get going. Let's look at the 2019 season for the Chicago Bears. That's where this podcast is going to primarily sit, is around the Chicago Bears. We are going to talk about the NFL as a whole, big events. Obviously, we have the draft and free agency and kind of all of that coming up. But the specific focus is going to be on the Chicago Bears. So, Nate, 2019, obviously recapping 2018, pretty good season.
Pretty good. I think we're all pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Not the ending that we wanted.
Well, I mean,
that's okay. I'm going to go on the Good Morning.
If someone told you at the beginning of the year last year that you're going to make the playoffs, but you're going to lose in the round, I think we all would have taken it anyways.
Taken it all day long. I would have taken just getting beat normally instead of a double doink at the end. But you know what?
But was there a better storybook ending to Cody Parkey's career as a Chicago Bear?
No, and I will stand on my grave that the throw to Allen Robinson with a man in his face on a out route where he throws a back shoulder fade in between cover two was the best throw of the year in the biggest moment of his career. He played lights out. He was the best player on the field second half. So for my 2019 outlook, which leads us straight into quarterbacks, that gives me a good feeling going forward. Obviously with quarterbacks, not a whole lot of change. I think they do an extension on Chase Daniels to save some cap.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all you can really say. Extend him, save some cap. That's nothing.
He's a mentor.
Really.
He knows the offense. That's Nagy's guy. He was brought in for a reason. And honestly, people are weird about the Giants game. He's a backup quarterback. I think he did good enough. I don't think we should hope that he's going to be on the field much anyway.
Oh, how they forget about the Lions game.
Yeah, I mean, he did fine.
There's give and take. He's a backup quarterback. 1-1 is as good as you can expect.
He definitely highlights how important Trubisky's athleticism is to Nagy's offense. Not being as mobile or as elusive in the pocket, and there's that half a second added on each throw. It seemed like he was under pressure a lot more. Mm-hmm. But anyway, running backs.
Well, I think before we go to running backs, I think Nick Foles is the reason why people kind of we need to have a Nick Foles. No one has a Nick Foles as a backup quarterback. No backup quarterback's going to come in and win you a Super Bowl unless it's Earl Morrall of the Colts from back in the day. Who
I can think of Tom Brady replacing Drew Bledsoe and Kurt Warner replacing whoever was their quarterback. Trent Dilfer?
No.
What? I'm drunk.
Trent Edwards?
I think that's wrong too. We're gonna stop there. Whoever he replaced in St. Louis at the time.
It's not Trent Edwards.
Also, the Eagles don't have Nick Foles as a backup quarterback.
What are the Jags going to do to obtain him?
They're going to go to the playoffs.
How are they going to obtain him? They have like $2 million of cap space.
You can figure it out. I think they're going to.
Well, they have to.
And I think they're going to go to the playoffs with him. Anyway,
running backs.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement. Cut Taquan Mizell.
I don't know if the coaching staff is, because apparently he gets playing time.
Yeah.
I stand that he must kill it in practice.
He's Mark Trestman's favorite player.
Okay, fair enough.
He's really good in practice.
Yeah.
Not on the field.
No. I mean, part of me to be an apologist to the coaching staff and the GM Ryan Pace. I wonder if they see him as like a quoted Ryan Pace, like an ascending player where maybe he just wasn't putting it together in game day situations, but looks great in practice. So if they bring him back, I guess I'll reserve judgment to see improvement, but I'm going to expect a lot because he looked like dog shit.
If my biggest issue in 2019 is if Taquan Mizell gets cut or not, I'll be happy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's some marketed improvement from the last, 8 years.
Oh, yeah. I was just talking to my buddy who's a Packers fan. He's like, I wonder if they're going to be bad or if they'll make everyone shut up. I'm like, dude, that's my last 6 years.
I mean, that's, yeah. I'm, you know what's funny? PTSD as a Bears fan. I'm still like, shit. Are we?
When is it gonna happen?
Right. You know what I mean.
When is it gonna happen?
Right. You have some big thoughts about running back this offseason.
I do, and I'm about to make some people mad, and it's gonna have to be how it is. But I think they should trade Jordan Howard. I mean, there's the rumors that they were shopping him. There was another thing out there that I read today. I think it was Daniel Greenberg tweeted out that before the trade deadline, someone offered a third-round pick, and we said no because we wanted to keep him for the playoffs.
That's interesting. I actually have not heard that.
Yeah, I just read it before we started.
And I would have taken a third-round pick last year.
I would have taken a third-round pick as well.
With how the season looked overall, he did turn it up at the end of the year. And I know we're going to have some people say, Reddit, Shy Bears is going to be hot. They're going to be like, he turned it up because they switched to a zone blocking scheme.
It's going to be on and popping.
Right. And I definitely think there's both sides to that story. If you watch weeks 1 through 10, Howard was not hitting holes hard. He was not
hitting holes at all. He was like, remember that picture? Remember that picture of Trent Richardson where there's a giant hole and he's running at the pile? That was Howard for a little bit.
He wasn't running with conviction at all.
And don't get us wrong, we've been Jordan Howard fans.
I love Jordan
ever since he got here.
I was hyped for him when he came out of the draft. I thought he was a great pick, but I mean, shit. Even when he did hit the hole, Jordan Howard's getting arm tackled by cornerbacks. When did that happen in the last 2 years? And I don't know if there was an injury thing going on or if he just didn't know the playbook and there was some hesitation. But
that's always possible. It's always possible.
I think if you have a good value offer there, and especially not having the first 2 rounds in the draft for picks this year, Ryan Pace has 5 picks. He strikes fucking gold between rounds 3 and 6, man. So I think if you can get a couple picks for someone like for a Howard, mid to late round, you have to really have his replacement there on the board, I think, or something along those lines. But it's definitely the real possibility. And honestly, in Pace, I trust, man. Like, this roster turnover in the last few years has been remarkable. We're gonna give him shit for missing on Kevin White. It's hard to anticipate injury issues.
Fun fact of the day. Kevin White is older than Allen Robinson.
Isn't that wild?
That's nuts.
Wild. He's also like aren't they? Him and Anthony Miller are like damn near the same age, aren't they?
Yeah, somewhere around there. People forget that Allen Robinson is only 25. That dude's got a lot of career left.
That's a good segue into the wide receivers for 2019.
Yeah, but I'm not done with running backs. Not even close.
All right, do it.
Because I got potential pickups for Mizell.
Let's hear them.
I think Ty Montgomery is actually my favorite to replace Mizell, unless we pulled off like a late round pick for Duke Johnson Jr. I thought the Browns released him, but I guess they didn't. But he would be really nice to have as that option. But Ty Montgomery, I mean, former wide receiver, he would be really good and for what they want Mizell to do, and he can run the ball. He's someone that can maximize the options. Also, Spencer Ware, I feel like, is going to get picked up. It's one of those things that I feel like everyone's expecting it. Like when Danny Trevathan didn't get picked back up by the Broncos, everyone knew he was coming to the Bears.
And it's that Nagy connection again. Nagy, and understandably, because when Matt Nagy, so for the Bears fans who aren't watching every press conference or like scouring Reddit and Twitter, when Nagy talks about his offense, he's always talked about it in like a 5-year scope, a 5-year plan. Partially, I think, to like pump the brakes on Trubisky's development and say, hey, look, this offense is very complicated, and it's going to take 3 to 5 years to get the nuances, which is why they brought in Chase Daniel, because he has that experience and feels very comfortable with it. But Spencer Ware knows that offense. So that's huge, man. Especially because we're not talking about bell cow status. We're talking about, a third string back who's going to come in. They might have special packages for him because he knows the offense and Nagy knows what he is as a weapon. But yeah, anyway, love it. Go ahead.
I think Ware might be able to compete for starting time.
Yeah.
I mean, his year before last year, before he got hurt, he was almost 1,000 yards and he had 4.6 yards per carry and he almost had 500 yards receiving. He is someone that can run the offense. He might not be a superstar, but he's someone that can take over the first string if we do end up trading Howard, and then we can draft a replacement, which leads me to the next part where in the draft, I'm not going to talk about too much draft with this, but there's a few spots that I want to actually plug it in. Miles Sanders is probably my favorite running back in this draft.
Yeah.
He plays for Penn State. They already met with him too.
Local dude.
Yeah, and he didn't get a lot of wear and tear on his body because Saquon Barkley was the guy while he was there. So that's as much as I really have for the draft. I just wanted to plug his name in there.
Just someone to keep an eye out. I really wait to dive into the draft stuff until right around now when the combine's just coming to an end.
Yeah.
And, the medical reports go through and on all that kind of stuff. I'll start really getting in and doing my research going forward. I try not to just invest so much time into it's just a lot, man. It's a lot for the draft. Do you think they bring back Burton?
That's what I was just about to call you out for trying to segue into wide receivers before you passed on my boys at fullback.
Yep.
Fat boys don't need passed on.
I feel you. That's my apologies.
But I do also think they bring Burton back. I mean, that's Trubisky's roommate, bro.
Yeah. I think they can. I hope they'd use him more than they did.
Yeah.
But I think it's up there for a possibility because I do think Matt Nagy has shown a really good ability to self-scout, and I think and this has been on Reddit, and some of the beat writers have brought this up recently where they think some of the issues with the running game early in the year was he was so focused on Trubisky, so focused on the install for the passing attack, and kind of the nuances. People don't get what quarterbacks go through because Trubisky's changing the way he's delivering his calls in the huddle. He's looking for different things for the defense. He has different checks. He has different protection slides. He has different splits that his wide receivers are supposed to be at. And I think the center focus clearly is on that. And because of that, the running game was approached a little differently. And I think that self-scouting – they could look and say, hey, man, Burton really, blah, blah, blah. He added this much to the running game. So, yeah, I like Burton. I think he's a stud.
The only other – well, actually, there's a few other options. Anthony Sherman's going to be a free agent.
From Kansas City?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always – anytime someone from Kansas City is going to be a free agent, it's always an option.
It's going to be linked, yep.
And then even Ryan Nall, I know his name's going to get brought up because there's a lot of people that are like, Ryan Nall could be the thing. Yeah. But I've only really envisioned him as a fullback, like an Anthony Sherman. He has hands. He can run the ball somewhat.
Sure. Kind of like that like the hybrid fullback that's not like...
Yeah, like Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, it's not going to be Mike Allstott. Like, people are like still playing Madden where it's like, he's a lead blocker and shit. That's not going on in this offense.
A-Train, bro.
Yeah. But, it's so funny. Another podcast, the Sims and Lefko podcast, they have a thing called Whoa Big Offseason, and it's so applicable to everything else. And it's just players who everyone thinks are like, whoa, they're having a big offseason and do jack shit. They don't even make the active roster. We just hype them up all season on our preseason on like Reddit.
So every white wide receiver that's been on the Bears.
Yes, exactly. Tanner Gentry, dude. Fucking A+.
He's a nice guy, and I don't like this call out.
I'm sorry, but
his dad's on Twitter, and he's a nice guy.
Tanner Gentry's the fucking dude, minus the fact that he's not a starting caliber wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, he's a starting caliber wide receiver personality, though.
He's a starting caliber AAF wide receiver.
Yo.
Okay, speaking of wide receivers, Kevin White. God, this breaks my heart. But
I feel like you have to re-sign him for 10 years.
Yeah.
First 10-year contract.
Honestly.
Actually, second one after John Gruden.
13-year, $330 million contract for Kevin White. Fully guaranteed.
$10 million per injury. But dude, really, I mean, let him walk.
I'm not going to drone on the Kevin White thing. I'll just try to clear the air saying that was Ryan Pace's first pick ever as a GM. It's rough. It sucks. I think he's proven himself as a GM. I think that Kevin White's failures have nothing to do with anything that would have come up pre-draft.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, Kevin has been like the pro's pro. He's handled this situation amazing. And I personally hope he goes to another team and makes us fucking sick to our stomachs and fucking kills it.
I agree, because he is probably the nicest dude on the team. And that's a team full of nice dudes.
Seriously, every beat writer talks about how he handles himself, and the dude has worked his ass off. I mean, he's a freak. He posts pictures of like him in Hawaii last offseason. He's just chiseled to the max.
Is he, what's his face from the draft, though?
Oh, DK Metcalf? Yep. Fuck no. DK Metcalf is not human. He was made in Dexter's laboratory. He is like...
Didi, don't hit the abs button.
Right. Anyway, I hope Kevin moves on. I hope he goes anywhere but the Patriots and has an amazing season.
I hope he goes to the Patriots, because I don't care, because I feel like he'll succeed there.
Yeah.
No, but, sure. I mean, other than White, I think we have a solid core with Robinson, Gabriel Miller, and Wims.
Javon Wims is the... Yeah.
Plus, bringing back Bellamy, I think, is going to happen. So Bellamy's our dude.
Bellamy's my guy, dude. I have had limited interactions with Bezo. Talked to him about some stuff outside of football for a little bit. But every interaction I've had with Josh Bellamy has been awesome. Obviously, you see the Club Dub stuff. He's
the DJ.
He was so hated on going into the season. Understandably, he dropped a lot of catchable balls a couple years ago. But man, special teams ace. Like, fucking killed it on special teams. And he made some big catches, bro.
That Packers game?
Big catches in a few situations. I'm not saying start him, but outside of just a few big catches, the special team stuff and what he brings to that energy he brings. I mean, the coaching staff, it's like anytime Nagy talks about Bezo, he's smiling because he's just thinking about what a pain in the ass he is and how much he loves him. And that's just the type of dude you need to have around. He's the spark plug. Son. Exactly.
And then, there was a rumor that they were inquiring about John Ross from the Bengals. I wouldn't mind that, but I don't really want to give up anything more than a 6 or a 7. But he's super fast. He
that 4.22, bro.
Yeah, that 4.22 is nuts. He had 7 touchdowns too, which is as much as Anthony Miller had.
He did.
But I
don't think the Bengals are going to give up on him for that low of a pick.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to either.
Dude, it's because what he has isn't coachable. You know what I mean? So they're going to be like, oh, we can turn him around and we can get his routes better.
It's going to be his whole career. It's like Ted Ginn Jr.
Exactly. And if he can turn out to be as good as Ted Ginn, I mean, he's not great, but
he had a resurgence.
Yeah.
And then Chris Conley's a free agent. Again, former Chief.
Yeah.
Someone that knows the system.
Yeah. No, I'm down with that. And then so tight ends. Zach Miller, I don't think is going to play another down of football in his career. I think he knows that. I think a lot of Bears fans know that. I think the staff probably knows that. I've also talked and had many interactions with Zach Miller personally outside of football, just talking about music and other stuff like that on Instagram and DMs and random stuff like that. I'm not going to sit here and talk about how amazing human being he is. Everyone knows how amazing of a human being Zach Miller is. And I think that's why they bring him back just in a coaching role.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. He kind of already did that last year. He was kind of like Kellen Moore did in Dallas. He was a backup quarterback, but he was essentially a quarterback coach, and now he's that role. I think that's what's going to happen with Zach Miller. I mean, I don't think anything better could happen with Zach Miller other than he can play again, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I just don't see it. I would love to be wrong.
Same.
And if he can play, I hope it's in a Bears uniform. And that'll be someone who I'll root for.
I don't think they would let him go anywhere else because I don't think he's going to ask for top dollar if he can play again. It's going to be vet min, and it would be plays specifically for him, things like that, that we can get him the ball because he's got the hands.
Brown or Broniker? I think they choose between one.
Broniker.
Yeah.
He's the one that's actually got stuff. Daniel Brown last year seemed to get open out of nowhere, but this year I don't even think I saw more than 10 plays from him.
No. I do think Broniker as well. Any
Bronk.
free agents in the
that we could sign, or that we
that you
our
think
guys.
they'd bring him in? No. Yeah, that we could sign that aren't on the team. I don't know if any.
Someone like Max Williams, low cost
from the Ravens.
Yeah, from the Ravens,
Yeah.
He'd be low cost to be someone that could come in, and he's a good blocker. It's going to get real tired, but former Chief Demetrius Harris.
Yeah. Anyone who knows the playbook that's not going to be there is going to be on the radar. Cool. I think tight ends is pretty. Honestly, here's the thing: we're really trying to break down this roster. I think 21 of the 22 starters, offense and defense, are coming back. So we're talking about depth and some other shit. But offensive line, speaking of that, I think it stays intact. We already know the 5 starters are coming back. They restructured Kyle Long's deal, which is fan-fucking-tastic. I love Kyle Long. He's my favorite dude.
We do have a few FAs, though. Cush, Witzman, and Rashawn Coward. But I think Cush is – I think they're just going to let him go do whatever, because you could have James Daniels play guard.
Yeah. James Daniels would be the reason. Not Cush more than it is just Daniels' presence, being able to be flexible like that.
And then Witzman, I think, will get brought back. And then you could either draft or sign someone as competition. I think draft in the late rounds kind of better, because, I mean, you can find your Charles Little Jr. in the 7th round to compete.
Yeah.
Rashawn Coward, I think they'll re-sign and just stash him on the practice squad again, because
probably.
Develop him. I think
Harry Hiestand, man.
Yeah,
give him physical freaks and let him do his fucking voodoo magic, and hopefully you get someone to come out that's a long-term starter or a good depth position. So then let's shift to the defensive side of the ball, defensive line. I think Roy Robertson Harris is a fucking stud. I think he was one of the most explosive players on the defensive line last year. He had a lot of fuck the play up.
That's what I was going to say.
Which to me is, if anyone who doesn't know, fuck the play up is a play that is not going to get you a stat. But if you watch the film, so like let's say it's a run left, right? And it's an outside run or a zone run or something like that. And RHH blows it the fuck up. Now, he doesn't get a tackle. He doesn't get a hit for the tackle for loss or nothing like that, but he causes the running back to cut inside and get hit by Akeem Hicks.
Yep.
He had a ton of those plays. So when you look at the stat sheet, you go, But if you watch the film, man, he was impactful from week 1. I mean, he had a big game against the Packers week 1. He's a physical freak. He's an undrafted guy who's continuing to develop. I'm actually super excited about Roy Robertson Harris, and I think that it's between him and Bilal Nichols for the starting job across the picks.
He is actually an exclusive rights free agent.
Right.
So I think they're just going to bring him back anyways.
Yeah.
Nick Williams is a free agent. They're just going to let him walk. I don't see a reason to bring him back, because Bilal Nichols can actually play nose tackle as well.
Yeah.
Which he did a few times. And I think Bilal Nichols is going to win the starting job.
I mean, he was the most explosive.
He came out of nowhere. He is exactly what they wanted Bullard to be.
Yeah, and
he
Bullard
just knifes into the backfield and boom.
I don't know if Bullard makes the team. I think if he does, it's depth, but I would not be surprised if they cut Bullard because of Roy Robertson, Harris, and Bilal Nichols. And god damn, do they have a rotation on the line, man? Just
they
some
sure
monsters,
do.
bro. Whew. Anyway, all right. So outside linebackers, who are the free agents? Isaiah Irving and Aaron Lynch.
Yeah, and Isaiah Irving is also an exclusive rights free agent.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I should have known that.
So I think he'll be back towards the end of the year. He got a little bit extra playing time.
Yeah.
And he was getting some decent pressure.
Sure.
He wasn't always hitting home, but he was in the backfield quite a bit. Aaron Lynch, I could see them letting them walk. Yeah. I could also see them bring him back, but with letting him walk, I think you sign someone like a Terrell Suggs, because he knows the system with Chuck Pagano.
Ooh, or the recently released Justin Houston on a really good team-friendly deal.
I don't know if we have enough money for that. But
if he wants to be on a contender, all the stars would have to align. I think for both Suggs.
I think he's going to be a Packer, and it's sad, and I don't want to think that, but I think it.
Well, I agree, because He fits their defensive scheme. They have a new D coordinator who's trying to make his imprint on the team, and there's no better way to do that than bring in like a really savvy veteran to.
Goot also said they're going to focus a lot on pass rush this offseason.
Yeah.
So I think that's the no-brainer move that they should probably make.
Yes, and hopefully
but
he's
this
just
isn't a Packers
brittle
podcast.
and can't hold on to his shit anyway, yeah.
Yeah, this isn't a Packers podcast, so they can eat shit.
Yep.
I think you go with the Terrell Suggs and possibly a Cameron Wake, both older guys that wouldn't cost a lot of money that can still make an impact as behind Mac and Floyd.
I also think that might be a position they address in the middle rounds of the draft.
That too. But they also, Kylie Fitz too. I want to see what he's done with a whole year of strength and conditioning at the NFL level.
He was really raw, so again, we'll see where he goes.
What was his 3-cone drill that was insane?
I can't remember, but it was wild. Yeah, it was
that something like that, and then he had a ridiculous bend.
He's twitchy and bendy, and that's what you want in a pass rusher. I just think again, a year in the weight room and a year of experience, like just knowing how to be a pro, how to carry yourself. A lot of those smaller school guys, man, like you can look at. Then this is a segue to inside linebackers, but like a guy like Roquan Smith, when you're going to Georgia, you're practically playing for a fucking pro team anyway. The way they approach the media and their schedule and their diet and their weight room and all that. But when you're at a smaller school like, was it Nevada? No. Kylie Fitz was.
I don't remember.
Wherever the fuck he was from, I can't remember.
I was going to say Utah, but that's Joel Inebuniwe. Nailed it.
I'll get shredded on Reddit for not knowing that off the top of my head. But, that's something to learn, and that's underrated. You just see what they do on the field. But what they do off the field has a big impact on what the product is on. Inside linebackers.
You don't have to do anything. Except for, I do have one note here, and it's in all caps.
What's that?
Roquan Smith, Defensive Player of the Year.
Really? That would be fucking insane, dude. To have Khalil Mack on a defense that's another player is the Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, I think the possibility's there.
I think Roquan's going to have at least 130 tackles, at least 5 to 6 sacks, 2 or 3 interceptions
last year, didn't he?
Yeah, 2 or 3 interceptions. But yeah, Pagano's more disguises more with his blitzes. So yeah,
yes, he does.
He's a little shifty. And I think he'll have at least 7 or 8 pass breakups. So,
yeah, I mean, he could have that Luke Kuechly type of a year that Luke Kuechly had when he won Defensive Player of the Year.
He sure can.
Similar player. That would be insane, dude. That's like, that gets me feeling some type of way.
And then cornerbacks, we all know impending free agent Bryce Callahan.
Sure.
And then Marcus Williams, which that doesn't matter.
Bye. Yeah.
Marcus Williams.
So,
bye.
Goodbye. So defensive backs as a whole. So I said 21 out of the 22 starters returning earlier, and this is where I was talking about. Everyone knows the 2 biggest free agents, Adrian Amos, Bryce Callahan. I think it's a no-brainer that Bryce Callahan's the Chicago Bears' number 1 option or number 1 choice.
As he should be.
Depending on if they can work magic to get both, I don't know how likely that is. Depends on the market that we don't know. It really hasn't been set yet. But Bryce Callahan, for a multitude of reasons. One, he is a better football player than Adrian Amos. Point blank. That stops. Like, I could go on, but he is more instinctual. He has better ball skills. He tackles better, which is insane because that's what Adrian Amos is kind of supposed to. He's a thumper, but he missed a lot of tackles and had bad pursuit angles. Bryce Callahan's a top 3 to 5 nickel corner in the NFL. Adrian Amos could be a top 10 safety, but he is not right now. Were you going to say something?
No, I'm saying Callahan's the number 1 nickel corner.
Number 1. I think he's top 3 for sure. I'd have to really think before I say he's number 1.
It's probably really Chris Harris, but...
Yeah, they're right there, though. And so, exactly, that's the level that he's playing at. Injuries are a concern, but I think you saw... The best way I could put this is the drop-off from Callahan to Sherrick McManus. And Sherrick McManus did well. But Vic Fangio last year, one of the few things... People say he was really basic, but while he didn't blitz a lot or have exotic front end stuff, the coverages were pretty exotic, because what he would do is run like hybrid schemes where it was like part zone, part man. There's a lot of corner switch offs, corners dropping back into coverage with the safety taking man. Oh, excuse me. Good Lord. You had a lot of that going on. But when Bryce got hurt, Sherrick wasn't doing a lot of the switch offs and like press outs and stuff like that, you know. And I think obviously we can go back to the fourth down touchdown for the Eagles in the playoffs, which was on Sherrick, but just in general, I think you don't have that big of a drop off going from Amos to another free agent that they could find at a decent value. And also 80% of the teams are running teams are running 80% of 11 personnel for the plays right now. Something like it's right around 75 or 80%. 11 personnel is one running back, one tight end, 3 wide receivers, which is going to put your nickel corner on the field. I think that the nickel corner is more valuable than a second safety when you have someone like Eddie Jackson in the back end.
Yeah, definitely. E-Jack makes me E-Jack.
Yeah, my dick wiggles just a little bit. All right.
Also, I mean, if the sad day comes where we don't re-sign Bryce Callahan, I think a suitable replacement would be someone like Brian Poole, who just got released from the Falcons not too long ago.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you still have Sherrick McManus on the roster.
He was serviceable. He was not bad. I don't want to come off like I'm hating on Sherrick.
Yeah, we love Sherrick.
It's hard to fill in the shoes of someone. He's a top 5 bear. It's hard to fill in the shoes of somebody who's top 3 in their position. Yep. You know what I mean? That's like Khalil Mack got hurt, you know, and while Aaron Lynch is good, you really feel it when he's trying to replace Khalil Mack's shoes. Anyway.
Yep. And then as far as safety goes, there's a lot of things you can do at safety. We do have a free agent, DeAndre Houston Carson, which I think we should just bring back anyways. He didn't get a huge chance to show what he's capable of. Fangio liked to use him in the nickel a little bit. Then he got hurt in that preseason game. I think, didn't he make an interception and got hurt? Was it that what it was?
Yeah.
And so for special teams depth, I think he's good. For safety depth, or nickel depth, anything like that.
He's a good depth player, sure.
He's one of those guys that just kind of goes all over the place and does his job.
Yep.
In my opinion, I'm going to make people mad like I did with Howard. I think you let Amos walk. Yeah. If you can sign him at a reasonable contract, then that's fine. Sure.
I think he's gonna want like top 5 money.
Yeah, something like that. But I think you let him walk. Game
because free agents always reset the market every year. So like, you know, top 5 is not actually like top 5. You're gonna see all the lists. It's like Adrian Amos makes more than, you know, whoever. Name insert great top 5 safety.
They do that with the quarterbacks every year. Matt Stafford makes more than Aaron Rodgers.
Sure, he did until Aaron Rodgers was available for a new contract. So, but I mean, Landon Collins, Tyrann Mathieu, if they are going to try to throw around money, there are some, I think, upgrades available.
I think I read that on Twitter too. The idea in Hallis Hall is that if he's going to ask for that kind of money, we can get a better player for
the same
a little bit more. I mean, possibly. And don't get us wrong, we love Amos. He's great. He comes and does his job. You always want to
your draft picks, so
yeah, he does his job. He's never the thing with him is that like sometimes with a Landon Collins makes a lot of plays, but then sometimes he gives up some big plays. Like I know everyone loves
Tyrann Mathieu's the same way.
Yeah, but everyone loves bringing up when Collins couldn't cover Tariq Cohen. And Tariq
also
Cohen
playing with a torn shoulder labrum.
And Tariq Cohen is a freak of nature. Okay, but something with Amos is he doesn't really give up the big plays as much as, but he doesn't also make the big plays. He's just kind of...
Which lends the argument, if you have a guy like Ejak there who's going to make those plays, do you want to put an emphasis on another playmaker or someone who's more steady? I think Ryan Pace has shown time and time again he will take the playmaker every day and take the risk.
Yeah, an interesting name too, Jonathan Cyprien, just got released by the, Titans, I think?
Yeah.
And he's a interesting one because he's a solid vet. He's 28 still, so he's still in his prime.
Yeah.
He's mainly an in-the-box. Yeah, he's a proven starter. He's mainly an in-the-box safety.
Sure.
But I'm sure he can do a little bit of coverage, and Pagano always gets the best out of his DBs no matter where he goes.
Well, that's the X factor that we're not taking into consideration is how Chuck's going to value that position. So Ryan Pace, in his combine interview before the combine really started, talked about the position and addressed it as a position where they're looking for flexibility. As like the way he worded it, and I don't know. I mean, it's so vague this time of year, and they're going to say whatever gets the answer across, but they're not going to give any information away, of course. But the way he described it was he's looking for a player who is like Eddie Jackson, or in terms of you can interchange him.
Right.
If you want him to fall back and Eddie to blitz, or do you want Eddie to kind of range back there in the cover one and have this guy play in the box or in a nickel roll or blitz or whatever. The way Ryan Pace wanted to word it, the way he worded it was like you want him interchangeable. That's Eddie Jackson's a top three free safety in the NFL.
He's the number one safety in the NFL, and I will say this again, and I will die on this hill. There was not a better safety last year than Eddie Jackson.
I don't think so. And the way he was valued in that defense, the way they played so aggressive up front and like if you watch the film, dude, Prince Amukamara is like just punching every wide receiver off the line. Every single play, he's out there.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
As soon as he gets on.
You don't do that if you have a safety who's a liability on the back end. But they know if her Kyle gets beat back there, Eddie's got that range, bro. He's making the play.
It's similar to the Legion of Boom. I remember Richard Sherman. He's like, I can do whatever I want because I got Earl Thomas back here. Because if I mess up, it doesn't matter.
Earl's there. Yeah.
Earl's there. And I don't have the numbers with me right now. I got into a altercation with a Seahawks fan about Eddie Jackson versus Earl Thomas. Eddie Jackson's year this year, his numbers, there was a few like pass breakups, I think, and interceptions. He had more this year than Earl Thomas has had in any of his best years. Sure. I didn't realize how good of a year he had. Like, I knew he had a good year, but I didn't realize how good until I compared him to Earl Thomas.
Sure.
And I think by the end of their careers, they're both going to be Hall
There's
of Famers.
A couple variables there. Earl Thomas was so incredible consistently for so long.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Earl Thomas is probably the second best
ran the ball
behind Eddie Jackson.
They ran the ball a lot more on the Seahawks because they knew of the Legion of Boom. But anyway, that's another topic for another day.
But getting back to Cyprien, he's someone that if you sign him, it doesn't affect the compensatory picks. To where if we let Amos walk and he signs somewhere else, we can still get, I think it was a 4th rounder.
Is it that high? Okay.
Yeah, so that's okay with me.
I'm Gucci with that.
I think it's a 4th rounder just because of his asking price.
Yeah.
But to go back into the draft too, I think you sign a vet, like either Cyprien, Matthew, Collins. But I don't know about Collins because I'm thinking about a 1 year or one of my favorite names out there, Trey Boston.
Yeah.
He's
on like a 1 year prove it deal.
Yeah, he's an above average safety that can blitz, cover, and kind of do it all a little bit above average, not elite or anything. But you sign someone like that and then you draft Armani Hooker from Iowa or Darnell Savage from Maryland, who really brought his draft stock up because I think he ran like a 4.3 something, 4.33.
Yeah, he did really good in his combine workouts. I think across the board his vert was good. His broad jump was really solid.
He's a little skinny for my taste. I think that he just needs to bulk up, but I think he'll get hurt if he doesn't. But an underrated option.
Yeah.
But he's a restricted free agent. Anthony Harris from the Vikings.
First of all, it'd be fucking great to take someone, but go ahead.
He had an underrated year. They didn't. Yeah. Who was it that got hurt? Sendejo?
Yeah.
He got hurt, and Anthony Harris stepped in, and he just kind of balled out.
Yeah. And it's always great to take talent from the other NFC North rivals.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
You know, it's a tricky situation with the restricted free agent, but I think if you play it right, you know. Perfect.
Now special teams. We
re-signed Cody Parkey.
We have 3 free agents at all the important positions.
Yeah.
Pat Megapunt is a free agent.
How the fuck did Pat O'Donnell get that nickname?
You didn't see that like 80-yard punt in college?
The one.
I also hate nicknames that backpack other nicknames. The only one that is acceptable is Greg Zerline Legatron. Yeah. That is fantastic.
That's brilliant.
Julian Edelman's Minitron. Stupid. Yeah. Don't care. I don't like nicknames that backpack other nicknames. Think of your own nicknames, and not everything needs a nickname.
Yeah, no, that's real. I just... Pat is, like, Mr. GQ on the team. And I think he's, again, like, super solid in the locker room. I would like to see them bring him back on a 1-year deal. I have no fucking clue how he got his nickname besides a 1 punt in college.
He brings the boom in college, not in the NFL. The fucking
boom in the NFL. He was okay. 2017, 2018 seasons were not good. 2017 season wasn't that good. 2018 season though, he was solid. He had some really good punts. He had a couple shanked ones, but consistently better than the year before.
Yeah, I think you signed him to a 1-year deal, and then you draft. Well, not really draft. You find an undrafted free agent in the draft. Yep. Or Ryan Allen is available.
Okay. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have a documented bank in my head of all the top free agent punters available.
I did some research, and Ryan Allen's the best name. Okay. Cody Parkey got cut. So I think he's appearing on the Today Show tomorrow to talk about it.
Yeah.
He really got through this one. Here's
what I'll say with this. Can I say something real quick on Cody Parkey, since he's not on the team anymore? Of course, how the season went was terrible. He cost us 2 games. He cost us Miami. Obviously, he cost us the Eagles game. You could make an argument he cost us a couple more. He damn sure tried to cost us the fucking Lions game. But he's a human being. He, outside of the Today Show thing, handled his shit well. Fucking, he's got wife and kids, man. I hate how Bears fans, the threatening of people's fucking lives and all this other bullshit. The dude fucking kicked some balls. He missed some. Let him move on. Any Bears fan that wants to sit there and talk that much shit about Cody Parkey, I would implore you to find a bar that has current Bears players, whether it's Khalil Mack or Roy Robinson Harris or whatever, and say it to their face. Because regardless of how he ended his tenure, he was still a Bear. He still showed up to that locker room. Let's just let him go. Double Doink fucking crushed my soul. And let's move on.
There is a few names out there that we could sign also at kicker, like Jake Elliott and Kellen Lutz. They're both free agents. Yep. I imagine the Eagles and the Saints are going to let them get away. So they're just throwing them out there just in case.
Right.
They did show interest in Cole Tracy from LSU.
Yeah.
So an idea I had would be bring Matt Bryant in from the Falcons. They just cut him on a 1-year deal. And then sign Cole Tracy, let him duke it out in camp.
It's going to be a big camp battle.
Yep.
And it's going to be...
Is this the biggest special teams camp battle that's ever existed?
I think it's up there. I was going to say...
A punter camp battle, a kicker camp battle, and you could even get a long snapper camp battle. Yeah,
I think they need to re-sign Patrick Scales. But...
unless Patrick Manley wants to come out of retirement.
Please do.
Wink, wink.
Fucking, what is he now, 65? I'm down with that.
That's fine. He didn't have to block before.
No, exactly. So this is what's wild. The Chicago Bears kicking competition this offseason, it's for a multitude of reasons, is going to be one of the most watched competitions of any position in the NFL this offseason. And it's definitely going to be the most watched special teams competition in the NFL. It's wild. And it's primarily because there's not a lot of the competition. Probably 21 of the 22 starters are coming back. No one's challenging Flo. No one's challenging Akeem Hicks. Roquan and Danny are solid. So there's not a whole lot of competition anyway. But because of the double doink and all the drama with the Today Show and Robbie Gould being brought in front of our eyes and then ripped away from our souls. Because
thanks, John Lynch.
Fuck John Lynch. Oh, I slid a click one on Ryan Pace with my dog shit ass draft pick Solomon Thomas and some others that I got. Anyway,
we're not salty at all.
No, fuck John Lynch. Anyway,
John Lynch is probably the king of saving face.
Yeah,
from last year.
I mean, and I'll also so I'm talking all this shit about John Lynch. Tagging Robbie Gould makes a ton of sense for them. Yeah. They have an ass ton of cap room, and there's no one on that team close to deserving a franchise tag outside of Robbie Gould, and he was definitely signing with the Bears if he hit free agency. So
it was the most
business decision. It sense.
Was the most mistress thing. Like him and the Bears were they were right here, and they were right there. And then John Lynch was like, nope.
Yeah, it's savage.
Not in my house.
It hurts.
It's whatever.
Also, that's another thing, dude, with like Reddit and fans, people that are just shitting all over Ryan Pace for cutting Robbie Gould when he did. He had a terrible year with the year he got cut, bro. He lost us as many games as Cody Parkey lost us this year.
More. He lost us 4.
Oh, he did.
Yep.
Fuck. 4. Okay, he cost us 4 games in a season that didn't mean shit, so it's easier to forget about. But he missed like some fucking easy game winners. He was not the same, and he has admitted he wasn't the same, and that the fresh start has rejuvenated his career. So first of all, Robbie thanks Ryan Pace. It's revisionist history, man. They act like we cut Robbie Gould after he fucking made 10 game winners. He had an awful year. I love Robbie Gould. I grew up paying attention to football, like really hardcore, like 2003, 2004. So like Robbie Gould has always been a part of my Bears teams for as long as I can remember almost. But man, he had a shit year when they cut him. I get it. Anyway.
All right, let's move on. Cole
Tracy, make it happen. 7th round pick. Let's go.
So that's pretty much our outlook for the 2019 season. What we have next is just kind of going through some of the comments Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace made at the Combine.
Yeah.
Before we do that, Sam Somerville, who scouts for Southeast, the Bears, he got selected for the Fitz-Pollard Alliance NFC Scout of the Year. So
which is awesome.
That's pretty cool. So congrats to you, Sam.
Yeah.
You won't see this, but...
That's what happens when you draft a bunch of small town or small school guys that happen to go to fucking Pro Bowls and All Pros, and you get a name for yourself. Anyway,
Ryan Pace said they interviewed a handful of running backs the night before that interview. So, I mean, that gives you a good idea of where they want to be at with Jordan Howard. I think it was like 5 or 6 running backs just that day.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, doesn't bode well for Mizell either.
I hope not.
And then Nagy had said there was a conversation about Hunt, but it never became serious for us. I want to go in on that one because I think that one's a face-saving move.
Do you think they were interested? And then
yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% thought Hunt was going to be a Bear. 100%. I thought they were laying the groundwork. So, everyone has mental gymnastics they do in their head. They're like, I don't want to sign that player, but then your team signs them, and they're like, all right, let me think about this for 10 minutes and make it positive. And then they're like, okay, well, it wouldn't be so bad because it's not terrible.
Yeah.
So I think they were laying the groundwork for that so that people, by the time they signed him, then they would be like, okay, it's not so bad. But since it didn't happen, they're like, no, we didn't. Nope, it wasn't us.
No, we're talking about Kareem who?
This ain't it, Chief.
Huh? Yeah, well done. Just because he's Chief and
not anymore.
I think that's what I want to believe. The other, of course, we will never know, and we don't know. We're just playing a game here, but it also could be that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy were really interested. And Virginia McCaskey said, yo, you signed Roy McDonald and you had to sit down and fucking talk to me about it, and you convinced me, and he made an ass of himself and made us all look like shit. You're not signing Kareem Hunt. Fuck that. I own this team. No. You know what I mean? It could have been something like that too.
She's also like 99. Do you think she
And
remembers
doesn't really
Roy McDonald?
Yeah, I do, actually.
I don't know if she does.
I think Virginia McCaskey, while she's not like making decisions actively, I think that high profile situation like a Kareem Hunt, which would have been way bigger than Roy McDonald, she's really in tune with that team. And if she says no, bro, sorry, Ryan. It's a no for me, dog.
Do we just Randy Jackson right now?
I mean, Randy's that dude, bro.
Is he?
Pace on cutting Ryan Parkey.
Ryan Parkey?
Ryan Pace on Cody Parkey said it was performance based, and they were looking for someone who could knife through the wind with some leg strength, which that's what Cody Parkey was supposed to have, was a really strong leg. And
yep.
I mean,
he had a strong leg. He
hit a 6-inch
He didn't have an
post.
accurate one.
He did for hitting posts.
Man, why did he release a video of him practicing hitting posts?
I don't know if he was laughing at himself or I don't know.
You see Redford Jones had one of those?
Yeah.
And as soon as he got signed by the Bears, he was like, nope.
Yeah.
And people found it anyways.
Right off. Yeah, the internet's forever, man. The internet's forever. Do you think it was performance-based? Yes. Also, if there was any inkling of you staying on the team, going on the Today Show ruined it. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they were like, maybe we can bring him in for competition. And then he was like, it's all about me. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I missed it. And I feel real bad, but my dog loves me. He doesn't have a southern accent. I have no idea why I'm doing that. Pace also said that he thinks we're a team on the rise. No shit.
Yeah. I don't think there's a more obvious statement said. That's one of those. It's
a filler answer.
Yeah. Hey, do you think your team's good?
Yes. That made headlines. I'm like, we were a missed field goal away from advancing to the first round of the playoffs, and we won like 5 games the year before. That sounds like a rise to me.
Yeah. Nagy had also said, or on his offense after being an assistant for a year, he said now we can start playing ball. A lot of people went to the smart-ass answer to that. It was like, oh, what were they doing last year? Like
the meatball answer, bro. It's, yeah, well, why weren't they doing year 4 schematics in the 6th week of the season with the second-year quarterback? Like, that, again, going back to Ryan Pace or Matt Nagy, it's he talks about his offense in like 3 to 5 years. It's incredibly complicated, and we had a second-year quarterback who only had 1 year of college, growing into the role with all new weapons. Every wide receiver on that team did not take a snap for the Bears outside of Josh Bellamy, and he was not in the starting role. So, like, this is, I think, where he's like, look, we've got the year of success. I'm really going to start. And actually, what's funny is he's not bringing out more complicated plays. He's talking about stripping it down and allowing Trubisky to be more unlocked.
Right.
Because when he talks about how it's time to play ball, he's really keying in on Trubisky's ability to read defense pre-snap, have that catalog of defenses that he has seen from last year, and really lean on his self without having Nagy kind of guide him through everything.
He wants to have a Tampa Bay game every game.
Yeah, I do too.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Going into the Tampa Bay game, I was like, I don't know if we're going to win this because we don't play Tampa Bay that well. And then Trubisky dropped his nuts on him.
He did. I get so nervous with every Bears game. So
Me too. I'm like, we just threw 6 touchdowns last week, but this week we're probably going to lose. And then we did, and it was great.
Yeah.
And then the last one, Ryan Pace said he wouldn't characterize the impending free agents, Callahan and Amos, as an either-or thing.
Sure. I don't know how they signed both. It's possible, and like someone on Reddit is going to be like, listen here, boys, here's my spreadsheet on how they can do it, and it's probably going to find a way to work the money around. I just realistically and quickly thinking on my feet here, I don't see a way that they bring both back unless the market gets set significantly lower than people are assuming, or they take a hometown discount because it's a contender. Bryce Callahan has worked his ass off as a low. Was he undrafted or was he?
Yeah. He was an undrafted free agent.
He's taking his money, and he should. I'm all about the players getting their money, dude, especially an undrafted guy. He hasn't had the multi-million-dollar first-round pick money sitting around for his family. So, like, I don't expect him to take a hometown discount. And Adrian Amos is the fifth-round pick. Those guys you get 1 to 2 opportunities in your lifetime when you're an NFL player to get a really good paycheck to set your family up for the rest of your life. I will never hate on unless it's like really close. I'm never gonna hate if some team offers Adrian Amos outlandish money. Dude, take it. I'm proud of you. Go support your family. Set yourself up. But outside of that, I just don't see it.
I agree.
So, I think that concludes our 2019 free agency draft kind of pre-outlook towards things. I'll say this for viewers of this podcast, and hopefully that's a growing number of viewers. We're going to try to do 2 podcasts a month during the preseason. And then once the season kicks off, we're going to try to bring it to you weekly and do like a breakdown of the game and then a preview of next week. We really want your feedback. So if you like this, share it, subscribe, DM, email, whatever. Let us know what you think. Let us know changes you think we should make. We are completely open to ideas for all of that. I don't think I'm speaking for just myself with that. I think me and Nate are on the same page.
Yep.
But anyway, this has been awesome.
And follow us both on Twitter. Mine's at Nate_Flint.
He's going to put my handle on the back. I just changed it. I don't use Twitter. God. I use Instagram. I use like Facebook. But I do have a Twitter now. So
you can follow me. I'm important.
Yeah.
He's a scrub.
We're gonna put this on all platforms, so it'll be on Spotify, Apple Music for podcasts, obviously, YouTube. We're gonna try to share this on Reddit and Facebook and all that. So all the social media platforms will be there. But yeah, man.
Have a good one, guys.